289. It's the first time I'm using this live stream service, so I'm not sure exactly where I'm supposed to be looking, but I'll try different ways and hope that we'll be able to experience this together in the way that we would like. And whatever glitches we have will work out before the high holidays. Page 289, Mincha, in Siddur Lev Shalem. Ashrei yoshvei beitecha u'jehalu chasela, Ashrei ham shekachalo, Ashrei ham shadonai Elohav, tilal davir, mimcha layamelech, v'bracha shimcha le'olam v'en, v'bracha kavod Torah l'dor shabach masecha, gvortecha yagidu, adar kvodecha, v'divametecha sicha. Chanun racham Adonai, rachapayim udol chased, v'nol kol racham v'mosavin. So mechadon alachon aflim zokef b'chol pufim meinei kol ilachei yasaberu v'atanol mitokotech et yadech hamas karav adon alachon karav l'chol asher yikaru bemet v'tzon yirei av yaseh v'shevatam yishma v'yoshiem shomer Adonai kol havav v'kol harishim yishmi tihilad Adonai yidarapi v'yivarech kol basar shem kodsho le'olam va'ed v'anachnu nivarech yam et aviyad olam. Hallelujah. We continue on page 291 with the silent Amidah at your own pace for weekday. It goes from page 291 to 299 in Siddur Lev Shalem. Amidah. If you're still going, please continue to daven the Amidah, but we're going to turn back, as we do every day in our daily minyan. We go back to the prayer for healing, Rifa'enu, on page 295. So I'm going to recite out loud, and please join me if you like, in English first, then in Hebrew. I'm going to pause at the blank so that everyone can say out loud where they are, the names of the people for whom you are praying for their healing, and I will then recite the Shul's Misha Berach list at the fill in the blanks part of the Hebrew. Unlike on Zoom where I could hear everybody, I don't hear you now, so I'm not going to be able to pause and turn to each one of you. You can, just say it at the same time wherever you are. So my pause will not be as long as it is on Zoom. Page 295. Heal us, Adonai, that we may be healed. Save us, that we may be saved. You are the one deserving of praise. Bring complete healing to all our suffering. Our God and God of our ancestors, may it be your will to send speedy and complete healing of body and soul to along with others who are ill. Strengthen as well the hands of those concerned with their care, for you are a God and sovereign, a faithful and compassionate healer. Baruch atah Adonai, healer of the ill among your people Israel. Now in Hebrew, also page 295. Rifa'enu Adonai v'nerafeh, hoshienu v'nivasheh, ki tilatenu ata, v'ha'aleh refuah shalema l'chol makotenu. V'hi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu, shetishlach mehera refuah shalema min hashamayim, refuat ha'nefesh, or refuat ha'guf, Shepsel Yisrael ben Sarv Eliyahu, Vet Shmuel Zalman ben Rivka Rezo, Vet Miriam Kelita bat Esther, Vet Florence Kaltanuk, Vet Mordechai ben Ruth V'Arya Yaakov Halevi, Vet Sar Miriam ben Hinda B'Shraga Faivel, Vet Herb Fleischer, Vet Zel Demasha bat Chaya Sarah Eliyahu, Vet Yosef Yonah ben Bashalei Vet David, Vet Malka bat Zelda, Vet Shmuel Meir ben Sarah Vet Shaul, Vet Sar Bela bat Rachel V'Kam ben David, Vet Riva Sarah bat Penina bat Abraham, Vet Ethel bat Yentzel ben Yosef Lev, Vet Reuben Yechezkel ben Medani B'Chaim, Vet Avram Shmuel ben Sarah Leo Moshe, Vet Shena Devorah bat Esther Shmuel, Vet Nachman ben Rivka v'Yitzchak, Vet Miriam bat Chaya Hinda, Vet Tovachana bat Chaya Gitzel, Vet Miriam bat Gitzel, Vet Eda Masha bat Sarah Yaakov, Yisrael ben Levi Yitzchak, Vet Gali bat Bracho Moshe, Vet Simcha Lev ben Rachel, Vet Zev ben Chaya, Vet Eliezer Shmuel ben Chana Esther Reuven Ber, Vet Gedalia ben Chana Esther Reuven Ber, Vet Reuven Ber ben Leo Shmuel, Vet Moshe Shmuel ben Merko Meir, Vet Eitana ben Rav Sarachai V'Lev Chaim Kohen, Vet Esther Resha bat Chayita, Vet Ezra, Vet Sarachai bat Rezel Shmuel Lev, Vet Reuven Gedalia ben Yocheved, Vet Dina bat Malka, Vet Esther bat Fromo, Shlomo Hirsch, Vet Chava bat Chaya Freda, Vet Martin Yochanan ben Eliezer Vori Mordechai, Vet Chaya Freda bat Chana Bluma bat Yosef, Vet Nechama Pesta bat Miriam and Mordechai, Vet Chana Zissel bat Simahinda, Vet Lida bat Dina, Vet בתוך שאר החולים, וחזק את ידי העוסקים בצורכיהם, כי המלך רופא נאמן ורחמן אתה ברוך אתה אדוני, רופא חולי עמו ישראל. Refuah shlema l'kulam, may they all have a complete healing of body and of soul. We continue now with Aleinu on page 301. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נד השמיים. על כן נקבל לך אדוני אלוהינו. כי המלכות שלך היא לא מעט ימלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. So we are not going to be able to recite Mourner's Kaddish now because I am alone in the sanctuary and I don't see any of you, but we will switch to Zoom at the end of this service so that we can say Mourner's Kaddish. In the meantime, we are going to do Kabbalat Shabbat, but before that, I'm looking for this. I had meant to mark the page where are my post-its when I need them most. There is a prayer that is in the Siddur, that's not really a replacement for, but it's a substitute prayer that one can say when one doesn't have a minyan. So if I can find that in the next couple of minutes, we'll do that. If not, a couple of seconds actually. Otherwise, we will just go ahead to Kabbalat Shabbat. Okay, let me find it. Here it is. Okay, so if you have Siddur Lev Shalem, it's page 30. It's Tfilah Bimkom Kaddish, prayer in place of Mourner's Kaddish. Ribono Shel Olam, Elohei HaRuchot L'chol Basar. Master of the world, God of the spirit of all flesh, it is revealed and known before you that it is my fervent desire to praise your name and to remember and honor my beloved father, David Malik, by reciting the Mourner's Kaddish in the company of a minyan. I'm going to pause now so that you can say the names of your loved ones. May my presence here today find favor in your eyes and be accepted and received before you as if I had prayed the Kaddish. May your name, Adonai, be elevated and sanctified everywhere on earth, and may peace reign everywhere. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Praise be the name of the one whose glorious sovereignty is forever and ever. Useh Shalom b'mromav, uyaseh Shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Okay, we're going to do Kabbalat Shabbat. That is on page 10 in Siddur Lev Shalem. Yedi nefesh afarachaman meshoch el ritzonach yarutz avdach kemo haya yishtachaveh mul hadarach ki yerav lo yedidutach mino fetuf vechol tam Adonai ezip haolam nafshi cholat ahavatach ana el narifana והייתה שפחת עולם ותקיימו רחמך וחוס נא על בנו אהבה כי זה כמה ניסוף נחשף לראות בתפארת עוזך אנא אלי מחמד ליבי חושנה ואל תתעלם יגלנה ופרוס חביב עלי את סוכת שלומה תאיר ארץ מכבודה נגילה ונשמחה בך מהר אהוב כי בא מועד וכונני כימי עולם Page 11. We begin with Psalm 95 in Hebrew. It's the beginning of the collection of psalms that constitute Kabbalat Shabbat. Lechu neranina l'Adonai nari'a l'tzur yishenu nekad b'fanav v'toda b'zmirot nari'a lo ki el gadol Adonai u'mal gadol kol yishenu bonetonu nefranu seinu. Page 12. Ki hu Eloheinu v'nacham marito. 40 שנה כות בדור ואומרם טועה לבבהם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי באפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי. Page 13. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש שירו לאדוני כל הארץ שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו איי 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 ספרו בגויים כבודו בכל העמים נפלאותיו כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד נורא הוא על כל אלוהים כי כל אלוהי העמים אלילים ואדוני שמיים עוד בהדר לפניו עוז ותפארת במקדשו הבו לאדוני משפחות עמים הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרותיו ישתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש חילו מפניו כל הארץ אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך אף תיכון תבל בל תימוד ידין עמים במישרים ישמחו השמיים ותג הארץ ירם הים ומלואו יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני כי בא kiva lishpot haaretz yishpot tevel b'tzedek ve'amin be'emunato. Na 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 na. Page 15, Psalm 97. We'll read the first part of this psalm in English and the continuation of it in Hebrew on page 16. Adonai reigns, let the earth be glad, the many distant lands rejoice. Clouds and thick darkness surround the divine, righteousness and justice secure God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming besiegers round about. Flashes of lightning illumine the land, the earth watches and trembles. Mountains melt like wax at the approach of Adonai, at the approach of the master of all the earth. The heavens tell of God's righteousness, and all the nations see God's glory. Continue on 16 in Hebrew at your own pace. Yevoshu kol defasel, amitzalim bailim yishamu. Or zaru ala tzadik kol yishrei lev simcha, simchut tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu lezecher kodsho. Page 17, Psalm 98. Mizmor shiru la'Adonai, shir chadash ki niflaot asa, hoshia lo yemino, uzero azro hakocho, hodia Adonai yeshuato linei agoyim gilatikato, zachar chasto, ve'emunato leveit Yisrael, ra'u chol afsei haaretz, Yeshua Eloheinu, ay ay ay, hariu l'Adonai, kol haaretz, pitzchu ve'ranenu, ve'zameru, zameru l'Adonai, bechinor, bechinor, ve'kol zimra, b'chatzotrot, ve'kol shofar, v'yolef ne'amelech Adonai, yiram hayam, laina laina, o melo, laina laina, tevel, laina laina, v'yoshveva, ay ay ay, neharot, yimchauchach, yachad harim yerahanenu, lifnei Adonai, oy kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, ve'amin b'meisharim. Nai 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 Page 19, Psalm 99 at your own pace in Hebrew or English. Page 20. Romemu Adonai v'ishtachu l'har kodsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Page 21, Psalm 29. Mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod v'os, havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadrat kodesh, kol Adonai hamayim, el hakavod hirim, Adonai amayim, amayim rabim, kol Adonai ba'koach, kol Adonai behadar, kol Adonai shover arazim, vayishaber Adonai et arzei Havanon, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון וסריון כמו בן רעמים. כל אדוני חוצב לעבודש, כל אדוני יחיל מדבר, יחיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול לעלות, ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבות, כולו מרכבות. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. We turn to L'chadodi, page 23. What melody shall we use? I can't ask you. I could ask you, but I'm talking to a wall right now, actually to an empty sanctuary. So I'll pick. L'chadodi likrat kala la 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 pnei Shabbat nikabela ay ay ay. L'chadodi likrat kala la 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 pnei Shabbat nikabela day day day. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmi'anu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo l'tiferet ve'letila. L'chadodi likrat kala la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela ay ay ay. L'chadodi likrat kala la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela nay nay nay. Likrat Shabbat l'chuven echa, ki hi mekor ha'beracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. L'chadodi likrat kala la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela ay ay ay. L'chadodi likrat kala la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela ay ay ay. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kumitzei mitoch ha'hafecha, לשבת בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייכם לה. l'chadodi likrat kala la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela ay ay ay. L'chadodi likrat kala la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela day day day. Hinari me'afar kumi, Livshi bigdei tifartechami, al yad ben Yishai beit halachmi, korva el nafshi ge'ala. L'chadodi likrat kala la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela ay ay ay. L'chadodi likrat kala la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela ay ay ay. Hitoreri, kivarek umiori, uri, shir daberi, kevon Adonai alayich nigla. L'chadodi likrat kala la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela ay ay ay. L'chadodi likrat kala la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lo tevoshi v'lo tikalmi ma tishtochachi u'matehemi, bach yechesu aniyei ami v'nibneta עיר עתילה, ay 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 l'chadodi נפשוסייך, ורחקו כל מבלעייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, תמסוס חתן, חתן על כלה, איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקרא כלה, איי 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 פני שמן, איי 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 נקבלה, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה, איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקרא כלה, איי 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 פני שמן, איי 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 נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובטהרה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקרא כלה, איי 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 פני שמן, איי 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 נקבלה, איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקרא כלה, איי 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 פני שמן, איי 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 נקבלה. Okay, now it's time for me to share some words of Torah. It's September 11th. You just can't ignore today's date on the secular calendar. Or maybe you can. It's hard to believe it was 19 years ago. So there actually is a whole generation for whom September 11th is just another date on the calendar. It's merely the day after September 10th, the day before September 12th. But that's not the case for me or for most of you. As with so many profound moments in our lives, I know exactly where I was when I heard the news. I was in the Beit Midrash, the study hall at JTS, the one named after 25-year-old Matthew Eisenfeld and 23-year-old Sarah Zucker, who were traveling on a bus in Jerusalem in 1996 when a bomb exploded and killed 25 people, including the young couple. Matt and Sarah were in love with their faith and with each other, and they died together as the victims of hate. On September 11th, 2001, I was in the Eisner-Duker Bet Midrash waiting for my chavruta partner, my study partner for Talmud, to show up so that we could study our sugya, our section of Talmud together. I was 4 months pregnant with my third child, Rivka, and felt like the fourth child at the Passover Seder, she'eino yodea lishol, the one who doesn't even know how to ask the question. But unlike that fortunate fourth child at the Seder, my ignorance stemmed not from innocence, but from shock, absolute shock. This week, we read a double Torah portion, Nitzavim and Vayelech. In Parshat Nitzavim, the entire community comes together, and the Torah makes it clear that this means everyone, men, women, and children, from the mightiest to the most humble. The word Nitzavim is the plural form of the verb to stand. Atem Nitzavim means you are all standing here together. And the Hebrew word Vayelech, the second parsha, means and he went forth. Now think about that for a moment. What a funny juxtaposition of words. Nitzavim, standing here, standing still, vayelech, going forth. Are we standing still or are we moving forward? Back in 2001, when those airplanes hit the World Trade Center, when United Flight 93 went down, we were all stuck at that moment, standing still. We couldn't move. It was incomprehensible. Yet, vayelech, time moves relentlessly forward. So as individuals, as a community, as a country, we went forth. We went forth reminded of, armed with, the terrible knowledge, as Franz Kafka put it so hauntingly, that the meaning of life is that it ends. So many lives were cut short on that terrible day. We who are blessed with the gift of life, what are we doing with that blessing? In his book, Lessons for Living, Rabbi Sidney Greenberg cites a study by psychologist William Marston, who asked 300 people this brief question: what do you have to live for? And Dr. Marston found that 94% of his respondents were simply enduring the present while they waited for the future. They were all waiting for something to happen, waiting for the right man or the right woman, waiting for children to grow up, waiting to pay off the mortgage, waiting to be able to afford to buy a house, waiting for a vacation, waiting for retirement, waiting to get involved in the community, waiting to learn some new skill or hobby or recipe. 94% of us are waiting while each new day passes us by. And there's one statistic I am sure of, and that is 100% of us are running out of time. Rosh Hashanah is just 1 week away. What are we waiting for? The Yamim Noraim, the high holidays, the days of awe, are finally and ultimately about our confrontation with our own mortality. The words of the Machzor, Mi yichyeh u'mi yamut, who shall live and who shall die, part of the magnificent Unatana Tokef prayer. Who in the fullness of years and who before? Who by fire and who by wild beast? These words have never been more meaningful. Our days are indeed like a passing shadow. One of my rabbinic colleagues, Rabbi Bonnie Koppel, told the story of a Talmud professor at JTS, at the Jewish Theological Seminary, who saw a student hurrying by in the hallway. And the professor asked the student, "Where are you running?" To which the student replied, "I'm rushing home to look over the Machzor, the High Holidays prayer book, before I have to lead services in my congregation." To which the professor responded, "You know, the Machzor hasn't changed since last year, but perhaps you have. Go home and look yourself over." This is our task. As Kafka commented, the meaning of life is that it ends. We have one more week to consider the ultimate question. What is the meaning of our lives? If, chas v'chalila, God forbid, our lives ended tomorrow, what would we regret most? What changes would we wish we had made? What are we waiting for? L'shana tova, may you all be blessed with a good year, and may we all be blessed with the strength, the wisdom, and the courage to make it a good year. We all have it within our power to do so. Shabbat Shalom. Going to read the announcements now, and then we will have some words of introduction to Mourner's Kaddish, and I'll ask you all who are interested to turn on Zoom. So I'll give you this time while I'm reading the announcements out loud for you to find the link to the Zoom. I'm going to do the same as well. I have it on my screen here. And get our computers ready for that moment. But for now, the announcements. Okay, so the yurt sites, I'm going to hold off on reading the names until Mourner's Kaddish. That's the other announcements. Okay. Challah connection, Shabbat together. To facilitate a feeling of interconnectedness between TBA members during this time of social distancing, we would like to provide challah to TBA members as a Shabbos gift. Volunteers needed to bake challah at home in kosher kitchen and to deliver challahs to other congregants. If you would like to sign up to volunteer and or to receive 2 homemade kosher challahs on Erev Shabbat over the next few months, please contact Ronit Sagman. Her phone number and email address are in the announcements. We look forward to braiding our community more tightly together with this initiative. Okay, let me skip all this Zoom information. Okay, tomorrow night, Saturday night, Motzei Shabbat, at 9 o'clock, we will have Slichot services on Zoom with Congregation Beth Ahm on our regular Zoom room. The same meeting ID as we will log into momentarily, 550-999-2020. And the password is 309875. I did include in the announcements 3 documents for you to download and or print. The first one is the actual Slichot service pamphlet that I compiled. In addition, I also have the section from Sidor Lev Shalem, the Mariv and Havdalah. We'll do Havdalah as well. And a handout that I'm going to be presenting as part of my introduction to Slichot. So if possible, print it out and bring a pen or pencil. Yes, I know you can type on your computers, but with all the electronics going on, you might want to go back to basics. It's just a short self-reflection exercise. Other announcements are Tuesday, September 15th at 7 o'clock. There is a Sisterhood Bingo program via Zoom. RSVP to Karen Pollack or to Rael and Mandelbaum. Their phone numbers are in the announcements, and you can contact them for the Zoom code. This coming Thursday, right before Rosh Hashanah, is the deadline for ordering lulav and etrog for Sukkot. Yes, I know we're still in this Hebrew year. The new year hasn't started, but we always have to order our lulavim sets, the arba minim, the 4 species, way ahead of time. This year, due to safety precautions associated with COVID-19, we have arranged for you to be able to order your own lulavim, including the etrog, the hadas, and the arava, the myrtle, the willow leaves as well, directly from our supplier, and have the sets shipped directly to your homes before Sukkot. Sukkot begins on Friday night, October 2nd. It happens to be my birthday. So there is a link that has specifically been set up for TBA members to place orders before September 17th. And then, of course, the biggest announcements of all have to do with the high holidays. As you know, or I hope you know, next Friday, pretty close to this time, at 6:30 actually, we will have Erev Rosh Hashanah services indoors and live streamed with Cantor Adi Weiner. Candle lighting is at 6:41 p.m. The other service options are listed in detail on the announcements as well as on our website for Temple Beth Ahm. There are some more details listed on the announcements than there were last time. Times are the same. The indoor and outdoor services. Indoor services start on Rosh Hashanah day 1, Rosh Hashanah day 2, and on the daytime of Yom Kippur at 9:30 a.m. and go until 11:15 a.m. That service will not include Berchot HaShachar, Psukei de Zimra, or Shacharit. So if you want to do those parts of the davening at home on your own, please feel free to do so before you arrive. And the outdoor services are going to be also on the first day, second day of Rosh Hashanah, and on Yom Kippur at 10:30 a.m. going until 1 o'clock. I will be leading those services. My husband, Cantor Adi Weiner, will be joining me for Musaf, but we will be including in this service Shacharit as well as full Torah reading and abbreviated Haftorah. The indoor services will also have a full Torah reading for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur with an abbreviated Haftorah. There also are other services obviously coming up the next week, Yom Kippur. You can read all those. The only thing I did want to say is that we are going to do some things on Erev Yom Kippur on Zoom.
So we are going to have an Erev Yom Kippur Yizkor service on Sunday, September 27th at 1 o'clock on our regular Zoom room. I will be leading that, and my full Yizkor sermon will be on at that time at 1 o'clock. We also will be doing a live stream for Kol Nidre on Sunday, September 27th at 5:30 p.m. Candle lighting is not until 6:26 p.m., so I will be able to address you with my pre-Kol Nidre remarks. We also have a lay leader, one of our lay leaders, Aaron Klein, is going to be addressing us as well with a pre-recorded message. So that is going to take place that day at 5:30. And then Yom Kippur services, more details are in the announcements. Corners of the Fields, Kol Nidre food drive. We're not going to be able to have it the way we usually have to support the community food pantry in Madawan, but there is an easy alternative plan that will still allow us to provide food and paper goods for those in need. And you can make a donation by contacting the office and asking that your donation be added to your monthly invoice. Or you can send a check to the office noting that it's for the Social Action Committee's Kol Nidre food drive. The rest of the announcements you can read on your own. And I wish you now, again, a Shabbat Shalom. And I'm still going to be here on the live stream until it turns off, as you may be as well. But I'm going to turn on to Zoom now and wait a few minutes until we get at least 10 people. I will provide some words of introduction about September 11th, read out loud some of those who died on September 11th, as well as read out loud the yurtzeits for this week, September 11th through September 18th. And then immediately after that, we will do Mourner's Kaddish, page 58 in Siddur Lev Shalem. Stay safe and have an amazing Shabbos. Turning on Zoom.
How did that happen?
Ooh, that was quick. We made the transition here.
Just, Rabbi, so you know.
Yes.
I'm going to hold this up here.
Okay, because I couldn't see myself.
You can see yourself. Here you are.
There I am.
About a 6-second delay.
Okay. All right. That's okay. So you were, was anybody watching on Zoom and also live streaming at the same time?
We had a couple people.
Okay. So you saw and experienced the delay. Awesome.
Well, no, we couldn't see what was on Zoom because the Zoom was the camera on you.
Right. Okay.
There's 32 people on the live stream, and here are the 8 people.
We had upwards of 35 at one point, so I think let's let Rabbi finish the service and then we can.
Okay. And then I'll leave it on if you want to chat some more. Okay. Let me just move this so I can.
Nathan, 35 streamers? Because we have 3 people on one stream.
Oh.
We had 35 devices.
Okay, I'm going to mute everybody for my words of introduction and then unmute everybody for Mourner's Kaddish. "19 years ago, on September 11th, 2001, on this fateful day, 2,977 people were killed. Among the victims, 343 of them were firefighters or paramedics. 23 of them were police officers. 1,402 of them were employees working in Tower 1. 614 of them employees who died in Tower 2. The total number of body parts that were found, 19,858. But the horror of September 11th cannot be expressed in numbers alone. Behind each of these numbers was a person with a face, a story, a family, and a name. Names including Todd Beamer of Cranberry, New Jersey. Lisa Ehrlich of Brooklyn, New York. Lieutenant Donald McIntyre of New City, New York. Rodney Wotton of Middletown, New Jersey. And Bob Miller of Mattawa, New Jersey, a member of Temple Beth Ahm and brother of Fran Katz. When we recall the thousands of people, women and men, young and old, single and married, American-born and those born in other countries, who were killed on September 11th, 2001, we remember the tragic loss of human life. When we remember those citizens who rushed to help and who did all that they could to provide assistance to others, we remember and give thanks for dutiful commitment to those in distress. May we all learn from the example set by the heroes of September 11th, even as we memorialize the victims. There is a poem that was written by U.S. Poet Laureate Billy Collins, read during the special session of Congress held at Federal Hall in New York in 2002, on the first anniversary of the attacks. And the poem is entitled, "The Names." Yesterday I lay awake in the palm of the night. A soft rain stole in, unhelped by any breeze. And when I saw the silver glaze on the windows, I started with A, with Ackerman, as it happened. Then Baxter and Calabro, Davis and Eberling, names falling into place as droplets fell through the dark. Names printed on the ceiling of the night. Names slipping around a watery bend. 26 willows on the banks of a stream. In the morning, I walked out barefoot among thousands of flowers, heavy with dew like the eyes of tears, and each had a name. Fiore, inscribed on a yellow petal, then Gonzalez and Hahn, Ishikawa and Jenkins. Names written in the air and stitched into the cloth of the day. A name under a photograph taped to a mailbox, monogram on a torn shirt, ICU spelled out on storefront windows, and on the bright, unfurled awnings of this city. I say the syllables as I turn a corner. Kelly, Lee, Medina, Nardella, O'Connor. When I peer into the woods, I see a thick tangle where letters are hidden, as in a puzzle concocted for children. Parker and Quigley in the twigs of an ash, Rizzo, Schubert, Taurus, and Upton, secrets in the boughs of an ancient maple. Names written in the pale sky, names rising in the updraft amid buildings, names silent in stone or cried out behind a door, names blown over the earth and out to sea. In the evening, weakening light, the last swallows. A boy on a lake lifts his oars. A woman by a window puts a match to a candle, and the names are outlined on the rose clouds. Vanacore and Wallace. Let X stand if it can for the ones unfound. Then Young and Zeminski, the final jolt of Z. Names etched on the head of a pin, one name spanning a bridge, another undergoing a tunnel, a blue name needled into the skin. Names of citizens, workers, mothers, fathers, the bright-eyed daughter, the quick son. Alphabet of names in a green field, names in the small tracks of birds, names lifted from a hat or balanced on the tip of the tongue. Names wheeled into the dim warehouse of memory. So many names, there is barely room on the walls of the heart. I'm now going to read the names of the yurtsites for this week. September 11th through September 18th, we commemorate Meyer Rubel, uncle of Bonnie Ross, Louis Sussman, Cheryl Crampell, first wife of Brian Crampell, sister of Monica Hirsch, Bob Miller, Regina Post, my grandmother, Saul Steiner, father of Alice Grun, Florence Zack, David Levine, brother of Mark Levine. Laura Lang, sister of Murray Mark. Michael Kaufman, Jeannie Kimmel, Samuel Wolf. Harvey Epstein, husband of Marilyn Epstein. Max Waffenfeld. Aaron Weiner, father of my husband, Cantor Adi Weiner. Ella Friedlander, Sidney Aaron Green, Nathaniel Pernick, Alan Levine, brother of Mark Levine, Phyllis Seidman, mother of Allison Robinson, Richard Schoenfeld, brother of Ellen Berman, Yetta Zimmer, mother-in-law of Harold Farron, Catherine Glanstein, Ira Rudin, Paul Katz, and Henry S. Jones. I am now going to unmute everybody, and we'll go around the room for people to say the names of those they are saying Kaddish for. You can repeat the names if you like. Oh, I hear my own voice. Is someone still on the live stream? Yeah, if you are, if you could turn it off.
Somebody must still be on the live stream. There's a 3-second delay.
Yeah, if someone could turn that off, that would be great.